Это мы, 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 мы. Это мы, 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 мы. Мы. Сделай ты открытие, полюби и воплощай все мечты свои и в жизнь пред тобой новая.
Temperate decisiveness, joy.
Покажи, это мы.
Strive to inspire. Inspiration rules the world. Enjoy every moment. Culture is the soul of the nation.
Казань – это город.
Kazan is the city of opportunities, where the most advanced projects in IT are being implemented today. International Forum Kazan Digital Week is an event that is being looked forward to throughout the year. It's a platform for exchange of experiences, development of research projects that are promoting the federal level advancements. Thanks to the integration of the state governance services administration, you can get your help in a few clicks. 2023 is the year of the teacher and the mentor. The system of e-education offers flexible schedule for students. Innovations are bringing in new interactive methods of education. In the year of national cultures and traditions, Republic of Tatarstan is opening up an inspiring world of dialogue and culture. Traditions are intertwining with innovations, and art takes new forms. The Museum of the Kazan Institute of Culture Augmented Reality offers new opportunities in studying history and culture. Labuga Special Economic Zone is developing the best specialists in industrial robotics. Innovations are transforming production processes, making them more precise and more economic. 2023 has seen growing the number of cyber attacks at state info resources. But the Cybersecurity Center is defending information systems with new technologies. Neuroradiology Data Center is assuring implementation of the best technologies, cutting the time necessary for diagnosis and intervention medicine. ITC system is assuring the transportation system work, making sure that buses, trains and taxis are becoming smarter and more and safer. Business integrated innovations are promoting advancement of startups. Once a small Kazan Express startup turned into one of the largest marketplaces of Russia. Your goods and services, where and when you want it. Modernization of agriculture is increasing automation, labor effectiveness. Data analysis-based solutions are offering the best times for seeding as well as fertilizing the soil. Fintech ecosystem is offering quick and safe tools for managing finance. Kazan Digital Week 2023, you'll be able to visit exhibits, roundtables, and see live the new industrial technologies, visit culture and historic sites of the Republic of Tatarstan. Kazan Digital Week, the future here and now.
На русском канале нет флора.
Innovations, looking into the future, preserving cultural values, traditions, are a traditional motto of our event. Dear ladies and gentlemen, participants of the event, dear guests, on behalf of the organizers and partners, on behalf of the International Forum Kazan Digital Week 2023, I'm welcoming you at the plenary, which has the representatives of the government of the Russian Federation, Republic of Tatarstan, authoritative scientists and experts in ICT, leading developers, distributors of software and services, hardware and telecommunication systems. But I would invite our distinguished presidium to come on stage. Let us welcome the Minister of Digital Development, Communications and Mass Information Distribution, Maksud Shadayev. Rais, the head or the President of the Republic of Tatarstan, Rustam Minikhanov. Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation, Vasily Shpak. Deputy Minister of the Russian Federation for Emercom, Anton Gerasimov. Deputy Minister for Transportation of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Bakan. Director General of Tattelecom, Ayrat Nurudinov. Head of Headhunter, Dmitry Sergenko. Director General of the Strategic Initiatives Agency Staff Department, Mr. Razov. Deputy Minister for Cinematography of Ministry of Culture, Ms. Alexei Naimushin. Director General of Power Micron, Gulnara Khasyanova. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the forum beginning today would traditionally be having a hybrid format. We are having a very intensive program in 3 days of the 20th through 22nd September 2023. You can watch live broadcasts from the forum in both Russian and English. And this forum wouldn't have happened without our distinguished partners. Let's give a round loud of applause. General partner is Litai, TAS agency, HR partner is Headhunter, official partner is Vkontakte VK, automotive partner Exit Center TTS, Rostelecom 1S Moscow system, payment system, Mir, as well as industrial partner Telematica, InnoStage, Tatneft, Basis, ICL, Atom Data Innopolis, Gazprom, SPK, DA, E-Document Turnover, My Office, RGD, Holding, Kaspersky Lab, Art Telecom Holding, Rostelecom, Information Technologies, RIVC, and many others. Partners Basalt, SPO, Код безопасности, Contour, MTS, Astra Group of companies, Norwind Airlines. You have probably had a chance to meet all these distinguished companies that I have enumerated.
So we continue our discussions because we have been doing a lot of preparations before our plenary meeting. So let me remind you again, we had 17 webinars about main topics, and we had 6 hackathons, marathons, Kazan Digital Legends, Internet Marathon. So the prize giving will be on the 22nd of September on the closing ceremony of the forum, and the prize fund will be 2,300,000 rubles. In 800 speakers, of course, and everything will be very interesting for narrow specialists with a lot of technicologies, for a lot of people who came here for the first time, and for those of you who are not that much familiar with the IT technology, still will be very interesting. And my name is Dmitry Shugarev. I am a traditional host of this events, and I have been doing these things several times already for several years on this area. So, and if you allow me to, I'll proceed to my seat. Okay, so attention please to the screen. So here is the address of the chairman of the government of Russian Federation, Mr. Mishustin. Dear participants, dear partners, dear organizers of the International Forum Kazan Digital Week. Dear friends, I'm very happy to greet all of you here on this significant event, which is rightfully considered as one of the most important sites for experience exchange for business, scientific, and academic circles. You all generate and promote ideas for increasing the technological advantage of our economy. Our president mentioned several times that digital transformation must get to every industry, to every social aspect of our life, penetrate into municipal government and federal government, and must be an integral life, part of every family life. And of course, we have to have our own IT solutions. In telecommunication, we have to increase our computer power, server power. We have to develop robotics and implement it into energy sector and transportation. Of course, improve our IT technologies in general in order to create and satisfy the needs of our main industries. I believe that we have everything necessary for that. We have great experience, we have scientific potential, we have very talented professionals and enough resources. We have to use them efficiently. And our government takes a lot of measures to create most comfortable environment for the business in this area and to stimulate new innovations and implementation of them. We have launched a number of different tools and instruments and tax privileges, tax holidays, targeted help, special credit programs, grants, and we also have a legislation which would allow our programmers and investors get the status of special importance in our economy, so they will be easier for them to get access to the government and contracts. And this kind of legislation is being considered right now in real time. So Russian technologies are very popular outside of Russia, and we increased our output for more than 10 times. And IT solutions increased in 25% and increased and became more than 2 trillion rubles. I am sure that we can go into big markets and we can propose a lot of interesting things. In the register of the Russian software, we have about 17,000 software products for computers and for database. We have about 22 IT companies, and this area we have about 800,000 programmers, which is 15% more than we had a year ago. So we launched 33 competence centers in order to unite the efforts of big companies and developers. And we included more than 300 companies and very highly qualified experts. Thanks to this integrated approach, we feel very comfortable, and we strive to keep stability in this area and to streamline all production process in our companies. Our portfolio has more than 200 projects. I would like to thank entrepreneurs who invest their own assets into the Russian IT, local IT solutions. So you are building up the potential of this very important sphere of our economy. Last year we made decision to appoint a new minister for communication and IT, and our forum is one more channel which allows us to get a feedback from business community. We can take into account opinion of business community and implement them in our in decisions of our government. And I am sure that proposals which will get on this forum these days will help our government and president to achieve better national sovereignty. I wish all of you very successful business contacts, and of course I wish you great impressions after familiarizing with this wonderful, hospitable land, Tatarstan. Let's send a round of applause to the Prime Minister, and I think a lot of you probably expected some kind of a cliche phrases that, yeah, we live under the sanctions and so on, something which we continuously hear from our partners. So nothing like that was said. We all understand that what we need for our development. We all know that to achieve technological sovereignty, we need our own technologies, digital technology, and that's exactly why we organize this forum. Maksut, you were already mentioned, and giving floor to you, just one little comment. You can speak from your seat or go to the tribune, but the comment is that today we will all be talking about the digital development, and we understand that we need to save the main value, which we have time, and we never have enough time. So that is why 5-7 minutes for every presentation. So please, the floor is yours. Good morning, and I have a great mission. Today I am head of the organizational committee of the forum, and the forum is getting bigger. This event is getting bigger. We have more people, more participants, and very busy program of the forum, and I think I will cope with this role, and I believe in success of this event. Today we have good news. Our curator in the government, Chernyshenko, has birthday. Unfortunately, he is not with us. Let's say happy birthday to him. He is a great help for us. He is a great inspiration for us. And the digital team of the government is very, very motivated and very professional. So after Prime Minister's address, well, I can't add more. I can only say that in the government, we recognize that the amount of privileges given to the IT industry is unprecedented, and we have all conditions to develop IT, and this window of opportunities which we have got, you saw it with your own eyes. We have a lot of fast, rapidly developing IT companies with new innovations, new solutions, and it makes us very happy that we are choosing those niches which we have, which are available, and we actively enter the new segments of the market. And in IT industry, so probably the government will focus mostly on support of digitalization of big industrial companies. And we have a lot of financial support mechanism for this kind of projects because we have to replace some foreign IT solutions and software. Well, because we need to do it, and with one condition, that the companies will keep the intellectual property rights on these software products. So next year we finish our national digital economy program, and we have already announced new programs, the national program for database improvement. And in this sense, so we're now thinking about it, we're reflecting about it, what we've done, we are learning on our mistakes, and in this forum we have a great opportunity to discuss our priorities, where to go, in what industries, what we have to do additionally, our focal points, and what we have to put to our next new government program for IT development. As for the government service online, yes, I think we have done a lot. We can get a lot from the government services just sitting in your computer table at home. We try to make it faster, more efficient, more proactive, and of course, a lot of challenges still there. And we need to modernize several of our IT systems in the government, and the Rostech company has to give us an opportunity to do it, and we have to get special licenses and special permissions from the Rostech technology ministers. Our second focus is artificial intelligence. Next week we'll have strategic session in the government where we'll discuss the development of the artificial intelligence, and of course it is a very important task which will be integrated part of our new program. And big database, education, pricing, and all these things which government keeps in the focus of their attention. We have representatives of all regions of Russia in order to discuss our vision, how we look at digital education, digital security, the impact of IT technologies on culture and sport. And in this forum, we have to formulate our priorities, where we go, how to reach our goals and objectives. And that is why we have a lot of things to do, and I have felt it already today for the first 3 hours of work of this forum. We visited exhibition. I am sure that I will come back to the exhibition. I haven't seen a lot of things. I didn't have time, so I'll stay here with you until the end of Friday. So I am very, very happy to be here, and I hope to see even more. Yes, today we'll be talking a lot about artificial intelligence, and now it's a buzzword to talk about it. Some people even are afraid of it. But we understand why we need AI and why we have to develop it. And now I would like to remind you that a minister told us about government services online. We understand what that is, and you learn a lot of things from comparison. Now it's not easy to go to Western Europe or outside Russia, but we have this feedback from our people who had to immigrate, and this well, some countries have problems with it, and they just compare Russia and with some other countries. Well, we here in the Republic of Tatarstan, which is one of the flagships of the digital progress in the Russian Federation. So, Rustam, I'd like to give floor to you. You're one of the initiators of today's forum. Greetings in Tatar. Well, let me greet all participants and welcome to Republic of Tatarstan. First of all, I would like to thank the government of our country, Mr. Mishustin, Prime Minister, Minister for Digital Development and Mass Communications, because they decided to increase the status of this event and it became federal. And our chairman of our organizational committee, Minister of Communication, well, special thanks to you for your participation, for your support. which you have provided, and of course the fact that you will stay with us for 3 days. It's very valuable, very valuable for us, and we express our gratefulness to the organizers Kazan Digital Week, because this event has become one of the important things for professional community, and we see that year after year the level of the event and the size of the event is getting bigger. We observe a very serious competition in IT world, and sanctions, it's one of the instruments of the competition. Our president set the task to become technologically independent. This is the issue of the national safety and independence. We all have to work in this direction. In the Republic of Tatarstan, we have highly developed IT infrastructure. Last year, we opened third IT park, which allowed us to increase the size of these venues, these facilities. So all IT parks are now fully booked by the residents, and we have 614 companies. Well, I have to mention, among these companies, we have a number of real leaders in the IT companies, TechnoHub from Sberbank, VKontakte. IT infrastructure is being created not only in big cities, but in 8 districts of our republic. We have municipal IT sites, and we do it in order to attract talented people, young people, and inspire them. We have to have these kind of places in every municipality. Innopolis is the place which attracts a lot of IT specialists. We have there 342 companies, and in this site we see that that already more than 100 billion rubles were invested, and a lot of new jobs. And the companies in Innopolis offer solutions which can replace Western companies in a lot of areas. Apart from software, Tatarstan develops a highly technological production in Laishevo district, for example, on the Innopolis site in Verkhny Slon, and the ICL company launches the motherboard production computers. KAMAZ truck company continues working on the pilotless, driverless trucks, and it's very prospective. For the first time in our country, driverless KAMAZ runs cargo from St. Petersburg to Moscow. We started this program last October, and it's we've done a lot since that time. And of course, I have to mention our main company, Tatneft company, which has been actively using IT solutions in the oil production and in their oil and gas processing companies, in processing industries. 2024 in the Republic, we announced this year as a year of the scientific and technological development. In this year already, the focus of Kazan Digital Week is on scientific trends and implementation of the digital technologies. We have a team of leading specialists, experts, university, academic community, a very strong team. And in the IT area, we have to all products in IT must be valued, must be tried and tested, estimated by experts, and every year we do it on a regular basis. We evaluate the digital maturity of our companies, and the leaders are Tatenergo, Tatneft, and KAMAZ. And of course, we have to do a lot more, a lot of changes, and there are companies who are lagging behind in terms of IT. And Well, yes, a lot of companies digitalized paperwork, documentary turnover, but it is important to digitalize the main production processes in the company.
And use domestic software for that. That's important because productivity means increasing your competitiveness. The year of digitization has given important impetus to the development of respective solutions. We do continue that work. Last year, all 319 regional and municipal services have been moved into electronic format. The work is continued. In the current year, we are increasing the quality, speeding up the delivery of respective services. The main task is simplifying this, which is why we need to develop service provision proactively per every life scenario situation. In the area of education, in order to assure equal access of both urban and rural schools to educational resources, we are now implementing new services based on Moscow Electronic School. There is training as well as proper equipment procedures are in place. We need to complete that work by the 1st of January. And of course, it's important that all our teachers are properly motivated and equipped. Over 2 years, we have provided our teachers' body with 36,000 laptops. Akbar Banks is doing that work. Let's give them a round of applause. I would wish we have more of such banks. In healthcare, we are having a single healthcare system, the framework in line with international standards. It would be AI-based, which would allow automating routine processes in medical institutions. And this is in place not only in the central clinics of ours, but it's also going to the city as well as district, rural district level. At the moment in Nizhnekamsk at the district hospital, we are running that as a pilot and to demonstrate how we need to run that elsewhere. Plus, of course, in the digitalization, we have launched new local law service. Over 4,000 multi-floor condominiums around the Republic are using that, and we would continue developing this service in other dimensions as well. We are happy to see respective results. The Republic is having first place in the federal level digitalization index. For the implementation of internet solutions, digital solutions, you need high-speed internet everywhere, and that Telecom is working actively. 157,000 homes have been connected to high-speed internet over the course of last year. Some 80 more to be completed, to be done this year. Over 80% of households in Tatarstan have broadband access to internet. Economic development requires high-quality staff, and in this regard, Republic of Tatarstan has developed an integrated system for training of people of all ages. Kids IT Park, elementary school, IT school, School 21 is working. So 21 vocational education centers and 11 universities are having respective programs. University of Third Age is running programs for seniors. Respective graduates is about from respective university programs is about 4,500 every year, but we need about 10. In that sense, we need to see our universities making respective programs more attractive and bringing in more students in respective specialization. Of course, be actively working with the employers We are very happy to have Innopolis University working in the Republic with students from 35 countries. We have an experience related to Innopolis. 48,000 specialists have received additional training as part of the digital economics program. There is also federal school on AI and robotics are being implemented. Over 100 projects implemented in the area of robotics, AI, big data. All that in partnership with large industrial players. The digital skills movement is being actively developed as a movement in the Republic. Today we have taken part in launching of the 5th championship that will have some 30 skills presented. And we are happy to see with our own eyes how motivated are the participants. We plan that some 10,000 secondary and university students would attend these competitions. We have seen some when visiting, and we of course should support them, dear friends, in Russian and in Tatar. I'm quite confident that our joint work on the platforms of the forum would promote the development of domestic IT industry and helping people exposed to the various practices in the area. Wonderful acquaintances, business meetings, success in the implementation. Well, Kazan also is a beautiful city. Enjoy the players, and then switching in Tatar. Welcome, and maybe start in the good hour, and then in Russian. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Minikhanov, Mr. Margalich. Wonderful weather. Today, giving an opportunity to see the city of Kazan under bright sun, which is, of course, maybe better than when it's raining, but the nature doesn't have bad weather, unlike maybe international technological situation. We'll be talking about the technological sovereignty, the development of radio electronics. We all know how much pressure is being put by US on China when the chip supply is being limited. In that sense, China is following an important vector of developing radio electronics of their own. And talking about what is going on in here in Russia, how are we moving to technological development in software, etc. An important question. Let's invite the Deputy Minister for Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation, Vasily Shpak. And let me remind, we are quite rigid on timing, 5 to 7 minutes, please. Hello, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak at such an event. I'll be brief. You all know that if blood of 20th century economy was oil, hydrocarbons, the blood of the 21st century economics is information. It's information that is defining the advantages that respective states have, be it from governance, be it from the aspect of development of its production economy. And speaking about blood information as blood, figuratively speaking, that blood cannot run in someone else's veins, because if it's running in somebody else's veins, it means it's not yours. It's speaking about the importance of speaking about developing our own hardware. You won't have any technological and thus political sovereignty unless you have your own locally produced electronics. And we have seen this, we felt this very well over the course of last year. At the same time, we understand that building a technological stack on electronics within one separate country is very difficult, and it will take too much time. At the moment, no country in the world has a full stack in their country, neither US nor People's Republic of China. In here, it's important we should have cooperation, and that's the path that we are also choosing, building technological chains in cooperation with friendly nations, which is why we are speaking about this here in Kazan. On one side, the Republic has quite a powerful, well-developed industrial potential. On the other hand, the level of hospitality and ability to be friendly and caring is probably outstanding to the degree of uniqueness around the world. And the Islamic Forum that has passed in spring was another confidence building, confirming factor that had many guests demonstrating that we can be developing respective partnerships, including in electronic development. So what could be our advantage? What can we offer to our partners in this prospective unions? First of all, the solutions we have in security. Any information technologies should be based on the security of using them. Security of the critical IT infrastructure is a backbone, is a base for use of information technologies, which is why export of technological sovereignty, open co-development possibility of co-production and building of a uniform high-tech dimension is the path we should follow to address this most important task. I wish all the participants of the forum to find necessary contacts, solutions in this wide field. Everybody, may you have good mood and success. Thank you very much, Dmitry Viktorovich. Well, Kazan assures everyone has good mood. Hospitality is the brand of the Republic. You've given us a wonderful analogy stating that information is blood of modern economy. That's important that this blood is feeding the organs of its organism. And continuing this analogy, if information is blood, then respective information channels are transportation routes. We would indeed be talking about this. What is digital development in the system of transportation infrastructure? And the floor is given to Dmitry Bakanov, Deputy Minister for Transportation of the Russian Federation. Dear participants, dear friends, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the forum and the leadership of the Republic for the opportunity to discuss the most important breakthrough digital topics, share experience, draw some conclusions. We would like to speak about the preliminary results in the transportation industry from the aspect of digital technology. First of the symbolic events for our industry was a pilotless launch of heavy truck delivery at Niva M11 highway. It was a unique vision. Unique because despite sanctions and the refusal of cooperation of Western producers, KAMAZ unmanned vehicles were ready to run domestic development. Another important factor that is making it stand out of many analogs. We were not looking at testing things. We were having true cargo carriers carrying real cargo. In that sense, both the vehicles, both digital twin of the highway between two capitals, the cargo, the legal and business models all were like Matryoshka. Another important project was e-transportation document turnover based on the state information system of respective documents. To make sure that this system works, we had 2 federal laws and 10 supporting regulatory norms adopted. Last year, here at Kazan Digital, I was speaking that we have launched the system, and today you can have 6 transportation documents, including the most needed ones. We understand that the transfer to this solution depends not only on the transportation companies, but also the participants, which was why we were not pushing the market to go there. We gave them time for transformation, but we are seeing more and more companies joining this. Today, we are having hundreds of thousands of respective documents. By the end of the year, number of documents would be in millions, and that's exactly the KPI that the Ministry of Digital has posted us for this year. The documents that you are using in public transportation is a must that respective vehicles be able to go on the route. And right now we are working very much with the leading cities public transportation, which is also being integrated with the pre-departure driver test, giving us the possibility for assuring all the smooth interaction of all levels. Obviously, Moscow is leader here, and many regions have been interested in this experience. Mordovia, Bashkiria, Ulyanovsky, other regions started using respective shades, and the Republic of Tatarstan. Rustam Margalich, I am inviting the Tatarstan to become the first region subject that would fully move to electronic documentation on transportation. I'd like to give a special thanks to the Ministry of Digital Development and personally to the Minister Maksut Shadayev, because they are helping us to fine-tune respective services on mobile service auto of the single state services portal. And by the end of the year, a number of updates are expected. Logistics, multimodal logistics, when you are having a number of types of transportation engaged in this, is playing greater and greater role for the supply for our economy, especially when you remember when western borders were closed and transportation logistics had to reorient towards the east. We are doing everything to assure respective things. In 10 days, we are launching an experiment in collecting the state services, state transportation documents, linking it with railroad, so that would be seamless. We would add marine systems to that as well, and respective federal legislation was connected. Beginning next year, the electronic documents, marine or river, would have the same status as their paper documents at the moment. Going further, continuing on the logistics, for September, we started having a free electronic booking for cargo transportation, cargo transport coming to the borders. One of the first places where that was implemented was Zabailsk transfer towards China, with 1,500,000 trucks moving, crossing it within 1.5 days. Knowing when the people will be crossing the border, the drivers don't have to wait hours or sometimes days in queues. We made that free service, and next year it will be integrated with state services. And for information, 2 more frontier pass locations was at Kazakhstan, Bukrist and Chernyshevsk, with Kaliningrad and Litva. And some tracking systems, their navigation elements that are being used for a number of years, for a few years, for dealing with the due to the systems related to locations. We are using various navigation elements. We have tested the navigation-based locks systems using it at the Eurasian Economic Union platform. The experiment is being continued at the Russian Federation and Belarus, using these navigational locks for transportation of various lumber products. We are also using these solutions in marine ports. Last year, that has allowed us to speed up cargo processing in Novorossiysk port. from November to the moment, over 1,260 navigation elements. We are intending to use the same solution also in Vladivostok with FESCO. Today, we are moving from mono projects to complex integration of information resources into a single architecture. That would allow us to see new services that allow speeding up and making delivery of cargoes cheaper. It would also lower the burden on business community. That's it for me. Wishing fruitful interaction for participants of the forum, new contacts and projects.
Well, thank you very much, Dmitry. Yes, when we talk about the importance of digital solutions, we mean, of course, time, and this is our main resource, time, and the main value now. And the level of our satisfactions comes along with how fast we can do things, how fast we can, for example, get access to, I don't know, government services, how can we achieve our own personal goals. So everything must go very fast, everything must fly, as we say. So I'm giving floor to Director General Paltat Telecom, Mr. Nurudzinov. That's what he's going to talk about, that everything must fly very quickly. Dear guests, dear participants, well, thank you very much for a chance to be here and be general sponsor. It's an important event, and let me just present our company. I'll begin with a short story about our company. The share price of our company is, so this is 5 years of our company with a new team. So we start working in beginning of 2019. So the share price, as you can see, grew 6 times. So that means we increased capitalization 6 times for 5 years. These are the main data about our company. So number of our subscribers, about 350,000 subscribers. So for the last 3 years, we entered the market, and it's domestic communication system is provided by Litai company. We hire 3,000 people, and we 135 years old company, one of the oldest companies in the region. And why our company is so important for the Republic? So it's important to understand, and that in other regions we don't see very often where we have a local providers, and that is why the federal providers put not a lot of pressure on the market, and we keep about 50% of market. So that is why we are one of the cheapest prices for internet in Russia, and Russia has relatively low prices. So that's probably we have one of the lowest prices in the world, maybe. So if you have problems in your region, come to us, we will help you. And the next slide, please. So let me continue these traditions. And last year, in 2022, I talked about our technologies, and we talked about the data processing, and we talked about how we can work with the most important parameters. And I would like to make a little comment about management through efficient using of the databases. So what we're talking about is, so can I have the next slide, please? It's a very important issue about management. So this is the space shuttle cockpit, which unfortunately crashed and killed astronauts. Space shuttle is quite complicated technical. And you see the instrumental panels, how many of them we have. So they still didn't have enough instruments to fly these vehicles. So some sensors which were lacking there. So that's why there was a catastrophe possible. And now there is a law of cybernetics. So there are two fathers of cybernetics, Norbert Wiener and Ross Ashby. And so the one of the fundamental laws is that the complexity of the managing system must be more complicated than the managed system. So that is why what we're talking about is for many people here. We just ask this question all the time: how we manage certain things if we break this law. So the answer is in the next slide. That Thomas Schelling, I think that a lot of you know this name, and he got the Nobel Prize for 2005 for these mechanisms. And I would like to read this. In economics, very often, a lot of people who are not managed by anybody, they go to the integrated result, which are almost as good as if somebody would start managing these individuals and would be able to force him to do what they want. So they say that you can do it very successful in management if you don't make decisions, but you just set the rules. And this simple example, if you introduced some rule, the blue rule, for example, it's a very simple example, but it's very indicative, and it shows as the blue rule. And if you have more than half red squares, in the next iteration you have red square, if vice versa, and if more than half blue, so in next iteration it is blue. So there are some so-called aged tasks. So and there is a possibility one half to half, whether it's red or blue. And there's a rule we implement for 10,000 agents. Can I have the next slide? And we see that if the rule is correct and right, so you see that 10,000 elements get the correct position by themselves. So to put a long story short, if you have a good rules, everything works pretty well. If you cannot do it, and if you gave priority to the red color, so this you see how the blue disappears. So on the next slide, what I'm talking about, the companies, we have 1,000 dashboards. Why we have so many dashboards? I mean, and look at this, only 5% of them we use for making decisions. And but analysis and data, it's not for making decisions, it's for the rules, for the control, and for the feedback for the for the violators. So if this, even if you don't interfere, so this mechanism is very efficient without you. So you just set the rules and you can manage it without your direct interference. Yeah, I understand I have a limit of time, so if you're interested, you can get to our company. We will tell you more about it and show you more about it. And we, as a general sponsor, every time we get the news story for this forum, and this time we decided to support, we'll train the pilotless vehicles when we do not use leaders. So all artificial intelligence in the board of the vehicle, and it sets the trajectory. So I'll show you a short video. Hong Kong 2021, more than 300 participants, a lot of sponsors. In Las Vegas 2022, 150,000 participants from 160 countries. The prize fund 40,000 and Kazan 2023. The World Experience in Tatarstan. The prize fund 1 million rubles for the artificial intelligence. So as you see, marketing is pretty well developed in our company, and thank you very much for your attention, and thank you. And in order to implement all of these goals and objectives, so we need specialists to do that, and I'm going to name them. So we need big data analysis, the IT solutions architects, the interface managers, coders, the machine learning specialists. That's who we need. So these are quite familiar words. You cannot surprise people with these specialists. But these are the specialists and professionals without whom the information will not flow. And you will not be able to develop without this kind of specialties as professionals. So some people say that new technologies will kill traditional ones and will probably kill some jobs, but at the same time, they create new jobs, and probably they will. Let me give floor to Headhunters director, and let me remind you about the time limit for presentation. Good morning. It's a wonderful forum, and thank you very much for the organizers. Everything's great. Hope my clickers work. Well, technical sovereignty is not just coding servers and artificial intelligence. We believe, and I present the biggest digital platform for job search. And first of all, people, specialists, and the problems which our country is going to have in the nearest 5-7 years. It's a serious factor which we have to understand, fully understand. So on this graph we see our own data, and we see that we are, as country, as economy, in the point of maximum disbalance of offer and demand, and we haven't seen it after COVID, since it's a shocking situation for economy, very unstable, and we believe that even in this quarter, next quarter, this gap will grow. I believe you understand the main reasons, and one of them is the demographic situation. It's not just for our country. It's a bigger problem. It's a global one, and this demographic instability has been going on for decades, and as you see, it's going on. It continues, and of course, it puts additional pressure on the job market, especially in new segments of economy where employers prefer to hire people under 30, and now we not lost, just it diminished for more than a million. And of course, the events of the last year and a half, and we see that economy is forced to change, to regroup, and digital economy feels differently in different areas, well, better, worse in different areas. But if you look at the problems with the specialists, so we have problems everywhere, in small business, medium business, big business, in all regions. So for all sectors of economy, we have the same problems, more or less. And you've just mentioned several professions like database analysis and coders. Well, for the technological sovereignty, we need much bigger spectrum of professions. And the biggest deficit is in the area of the working professions in the industry. And this is because what's going on in the economy. And the question is, what we're going to do with this? We have the deficit of specialists on all level, on national level, and this is our key problem and the key barrier for economic growth, for this technological sovereignty. And we as a company, we are interested in understanding how to influence the situation, how to look for and find specialists. And I would like to tell you about 6 directions. I don't have enough time, but maybe in this innovation forum, some people will understand and start developing one of the 6 directions I'm going to mention, how to use IT solutions to rectify this situation. So, number 1 is it's alternative employment. So independent employments or self-employed people. In our country, we have done a lot to legalize this kind of employment, and we see about 11 million officially registered self-employed people, and it's twice bigger than a number of migrants in the country. So it's quite significant labor force, and we see it is not used by business a lot. Basically, it's person-to-person services. We try to organize the joint work of self-employed and business, but it's too early to talk about it. And so we think that we should stimulate this self-employment, and we have to stimulate the joint work with self-employment and business. Then the low mobility in the country. It has always been like that. The situation is even getting worse because the regional mobility is decreasing, and we see the internal migration from east to west. And we understand that in different regions, a different situation in terms of demand of specialists. And COVID gave us and showed us possibility to work online. We as a companies and all our developers were in Moscow. Now they are in scattered all over the Russia in all regions. We have to develop solutions which would allow business to work online. Of course, it's about competences of the traditional management who want to see their employees next door, but the digital solutions and online approach will help us a lot. The third idea is the digitalization or skill-based digitalization approach. And here it is, we're talking about not only digital skills, but in skills in general, not only digital. So we have to have a broader look at labor force, not just what's written in the resume and formal education. This approach increases the choice of candidates because people have more possibilities based on skills they already have. And the barrier is digitalization. In Russia, we don't have anything like that, so we don't have this data digitalized. And some solutions which might help to digitalize skills and have database, develop them, evaluate these skills, will be very useful for us. And here comes the fourth approach. It's digital education. It is very well developed offline education, and we still don't have enough transparency. What are people taught? And we still have a big gap between what business needs and what the offer is. And we are looking for mechanism how to connect offer and demand for business. And the penultimate is positioned. So we see that businesses spend a lot of time to train people who come to the company. And so in the last, I believe that we can talk a lot about artificial intelligence, coming back to looking for the highly qualified personnel. That's very good that we invest a lot in our country, and we see the possibility in increasing the productivity of existing labor. And of course, we work a lot on this. These are the main trends, and I want all of you to think about solutions in this area. What do you think are the main actors? So, well, thank you very much.
This year, we are giving special attention to human staff potential, especially that now during the plenary, 2 people are making presentations related to staff at the times of digital transformation. Quite important, especially that we are talking about the staff sovereignty, because when we are talking about technological sovereignty, we shouldn't forget about the staff. I would like to give the floor to Roberto Razzo, Director of Division of Staff for Human Potential of Agency of Strategic Initiatives. Yes, thank you very much for the support. We are running an important potential. There's quite a lot about human resources training, but a few solutions about how to keep them locally. Keep them attracted to stay. We, as an agency of strategic initiatives, we try to look at the human resource sovereignty and how does it work. First of all, the HR system or education system is working with people's skills. Well, if we demonstrate them from a set of interests, possibilities, aspirations, etc. They are quite complex, but we are learned to be motivating them only with what is in gray. So that's a great square area. So we are mainly thinking about making them more educated, develop their talent, and not thinking about where their talents would be used. That's especially challenging when you're talking about new industries. AI specialists are not that many. If you have prepared a very good specialist, the risk that that person would move away and would not be in your company or in your country is quite large. The same thing is in unmanned aircraft or biotech, etc. We try to respond, and that's a brief report of what we have prepared and published at the website. To motivate the person, you need to be working with the 3 motivations of the person. We call that the SAIL model. First is talent. You shouldn't be confusing it with the professionalism. Talent is what person can do and what person is interested in doing. So in this regard, any education system, HR system, everything around the company should be concentrated, should be supporting people's talent development. Second is application of that in the favor of motherland. Sounds simple, but then we oftentimes forget about how people can use that. Oftentimes people could have implemented themselves here. We cannot find a place for them locally. And third tool is related to global challenges. People are mainly not intending to limit the set boundaries for their developments. And if we are talking about the global level potential, we need to be inviting them to work at the global level challenges. If we look at the challenges of AI or economy of data or biotech, the possibility of attracting and keeping respective specialists would be more simple. In the Agency of Strategic Initiatives, we are implementing national human resource initiatives concentrated on such projects. And we are supporting these projects, supporting their development methodologically from communication level, looking to help them to find partners, and selecting these aspects following the following logic. Long challenge should be there. You can be working with the motivation of a person when focuses are changing quite quickly. Second is the talent development, global level initiatives, and the application in the Russian Federation. My presentation is over. Thank you for your attention. You have seen at the very beginning there was a wonderful video that has explain the emotional side of why we need digital development in different areas, including in the culture. Many people start having quite a reasonable question when we are talking about the concept. For example, we were just talking about globalization. Well, it continues in the digital format. We know that it's a very large digital world, digital spaces. That globalization is in the globalization of today sometimes is damaging the local culture, local industries, whilst nowadays we are seeing that digital development allows every person to dig deeper, looking into the same traditional crafts and the cultural elements, accessing these values from anywhere around the world. I'd like to give the floor to Alexei Naimushin, Deputy Director of Cinematography Digital Development of the Ministry of Culture of the Russian Federation. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you very much to the organizers for the chance to speak. Such platforms and such forums are a wonderful opportunity to look around, to exchange opinions, have a fresh look at what's happening in our country and what's happening nearby. The Ministry of Culture of the Russian Federation is doing very big work on the transformation. We have seen the flag of Gostech, we engaged the work, respective center, domain development, but I would like to speak about some other aspects today. The task of the Ministry of Culture is to preserve cultural heritage, promote it, make sure that we pass it on to our descendants. And what projects we are running in the Ministry of Culture to achieve them. We have a national project culture, we have federal project digital culture, opening up a virtual concert halls, multimedia guides for people to be engaged in coming to museums. We are digitizing text-based monuments, some movies. We are assuring that things that can be otherwise lost and disappear from our cultural world. Virtual concert halls, things that we are opening up around Russia. By the end, our task is to open by the end of 2024 500 concert halls everywhere to make sure that academic music and the best masterpieces of art taking place in various theaters, philharmonics around the country, make it accessible everywhere. Preservation, text-based monuments, Russian State and Russian National Library are running an important work on digitizing these monuments. So the copies that simple people cannot come and access, take them into their hands because they are being stored in respective humidity, etc. formats, are now being digitized. They are becoming available to people, and links are available on the respective website. Well, indeed, Clicker is not behaving quite well. Virtual expositions and multimedia guides. Once again, our people everywhere within Russia or from outside can visit museums in virtual. That's quality photography, audio and video recordings, and part of the national project culture. We are funding museums with the federal budget funding, as well as offering them to upload respective virtual tours on our platform free of charge. 300,000 people have accessed it already, and our task is that at least 1 million of people a year be able to visit respective virtual museums. And I'm presenting just part of what we have. Our flagship project is Kultura.rf, Russian Federation portal. Last year we had 146 million visits, not views, but visits. Just this year, first half year, 85 million visits. Over the 12 years, that has turned into informational platform, the widest information about center about events around the country. You can access through Pushkin card. Some 3 to 4 million events a year being registered. Now, State Catalog of Museum Fund, our task was to digitize things that we have in museums. It turned out that we are having 70 million objects in museums, and these 70 million objects have to be a catalog. There is a public portal where this information is provided. What is where? 38 million objects are presented now in public portal, and should you want to go to some museum, you should know that just 5% of respective objects are being demonstrated, but you can see what respective museums have else through our public portal. Kultura Grants of Russia, the only aggregator of all grants around the country. All grants support. And interestingly, in the course of last year, the grants that were published on the portal have offered funding of 7 billion rubles. Culture for secondary kids, for school kids, Russian Federation portal providing a digital format of interaction of children with culture. Project being implemented since 2019. Annually, 1.5 million school kids are taking part in various events, creative meetings, and our job is to develop that portal, develop services not just for school kids but also for preschoolers. And that task would be also supporting the gaming industry and make a number of gaming projects for preschoolers so that they start interacting not just with alien or somebody else's games, but with our culture. And dear colleagues, thank you very much for your support. We charge ourselves with creating more and better content so that each one of us can access culture from where we are, so that culture is part of our soul. Thank you. Thank you, Alexey Vasilyevich. Speaking about museums, I opened up Artifact app. I have visited the expo of the museum in Yaroslavl. In that sense, we do have solutions that are ahead of everyone else on the planet. So if you are 13 or 14 and you are bored listening to a guide, you can use it. You can move the camera of your mobile to whatever artifact, get information the way you want it. In that sense, we are very much ahead. But once again, in the digital development, what is the blocking element is microelectronics. Without that, how can we run the system? Because if information is blood, microelectronics is organs that allow our organism, the digital organism of the country, to be working. There are plenty of threats and challenges now. Some are speaking about the need for deglobalization, which is doubtless. Others are, and quite rightly, are saying that one single country cannot accumulate all technologies. In that sense, what way should we be moving? Maybe Russia, by developing its technological sovereignty, should be developing new circles of interaction with other countries. Quite possible that they are being shaped in opposition to those that have decided to cut some relationships in order to slow down the development of technological sovereignty in the country. Is it possible to create obstacles to prevent something in our country? Microelectronics, the factory of Micron. Gunnar Kasyanov. Micron, dear colleagues, I would like to say a few words about the trends we are seeing now. We are talking a lot about IT systems, but IT systems don't live in virtual reality. They are hardware dependent, platform dependent, and thus these rely on microelectronics. In the course of last 10 to 15 years, we see that IT technology development drivers were based on microelectronic development, miniaturization of devices. Great many of carried devices, increasing the speed of processing and globalization. The good part of the story is that IT development is affecting the microelectronics development, AI system developing, allowing us to change architecture, moving towards edge processing, moving away from the central processor to peripheral units, and we start having a diverse needs in diversity of chips, which we can be developing on the existing topologies that Russian Federation has. So the reverse trend of the development IT systems is influencing microelectronics, and the coming 10 years will be very much living that trend. If you look at IT giants and look where they invest into money, Google and smartphones, their own chip, Amazon, their own chip, and the processor for data centers. If you look at Apple, Huawei, Xiaomi, all the smartphones and the spectrum of equipment, once again based on their own microelectronics. The same trend is being supported by Russian companies working in IT, for example, Aquarius, as well as the core of the data storage is there. They are also declaring that they will be working on their own components to assure development of their devices. Another important trend I would like to draw your attention to is that off-the-shelf system suppliers are now not just planning the chips, they are even building microelectronic plants for themselves. For example, BYD, Automotive Corporation of China, which is a leader of electric vehicles on Chinese market, is designing microelectronics factory, which means that the competitiveness in the coming 10 years will be identified by microelectronics, not so much by IT systems, but the degree to which your IT systems are linked to your own microelectronics. That confirms the trend in factories. We are seeing over the course of last dozen of years from 1 to 14% the factories have seen the orders of the end system producers, which means that if you want to be competitive in the coming 10 years, you have to understand who is making your microelectronics, and you have to be designing it yourself. That's a new trend that allows us to talk about the relaunch of the technological sovereignty model. If we used to talk about technological sovereignty, is that we are doing everything to the last nail in the country, and in digital we are saying that we are writing ourselves to the very last byte of code, controlling everything. Now, timing, creation of solutions, and then paying back for respective solutions at the local market is obviously telling us that that kind of a model, individual model, would take too much time, and local market cannot always assure recreation of investment. And that it's important that we need to be looking at this rationally, understand that many countries are looking for technological sovereignty, and the last 2 years it was not just our country that was exposed to the fact that if you have your own values and your own both inner and external policy, you should be making sure that you should not be dependent on the external leaders, and more countries understand that developing new model of technological sovereignty when we are looking for various cooperation models in which the system of managing all the critical infrastructure and everything related to critical service provision of population is a must for sovereignty of every single country, even though we are part of cooperation. In this sense, new model of international cooperation is first sharing of investments into R&D and open software. then certification systems for both products and systems that are defining for respective countries. In this case, this is defending your market number of respective countries and respective technologies, which, when developing technological requirements, are protecting their markets from global players. And the most important thing is in your national education system. If you want to be talking people in the same technology language, you need to be training human potential staff that's developing a respective microelectronics cluster in the Republic of Tatarstan. We are doing that for microelectronics engineer development, and we will be doing that not just for Russian citizens, but also for partners from the countries which share our technological sovereignty policy and are taking part there. And thank you very much for all those participating in the forum. And one more thing that comes to my mind, we have met many times. We've seen that whenever some technology doesn't exist, you can take a look at what China has done and copy technologies. Seems to be okay. I would like to say that they have done a lot in this regard.
So, we're the current Chinese in this area. So a lot of people say that, well, they don't do a lot of their own. China can copy. Maksut, I will give you floor a little later. I just would like to dwell on a little bit on the technological. So technological sovereignty is basically how safe you are. It's about proactive models, which we talk about. So we have to give floor to Mr. Gerasimov, Minister of Emergency Situations. So please. Very briefly, I probably will be the last one. Yes, I will not tell you. So, dear Maksut, dear Rustam, I'm really glad to greet all of you here, dear friends, and a lot of you I know personally. We regularly meet, and I mean, first of all, municipal colleagues, and I'm very glad to see all of you here. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, as I understand, we will have strategic sessions, and one of the sessions will be Safe City, or Safe Region, as we call it. And we all know, dear colleagues, that very often the concept of the Safe City is based on everything which is connected with the safety, but the experience of this building or implementing the ideas of the safe city, you have to begin with the re-engineering. You have to think upon new concepts of how to reassemble the existing infrastructure, and we have to how to use the 112 calling system. And so it's basically how it is organized in all subjects of Russian Federation. We have to learn from each other. You have to look at how we can modernize and develop the emergency information system for people. And we have to have a system which can reach and get to everybody. And we have to look at how we develop these platforms, safety platforms. And you know that in our ministry we spend a lot of efforts and resources to provide safety for people. Well, we cannot do it without your help. So that is why I want to wish all of you, in conclusion, successful, resultful work in developing these solutions. And then I hope that my colleagues from ministries, from the government will help us to work with artificial intelligence, with big database, because as we see, it is very important. We have to protect and provide safety of each and every of us. Thank you very much, Anton. It's very important not to forget about Yeah, we talk about the safety. Well, Maksud, now we are summing up. So can we just maybe recall again about the words of our Prime Minister? And Prime Minister said that we are under pressure and we are in a very complicated situation now. So the main idea is that everything is fine, but we have some challenges, but it's all achievable. And whatever challenges we have, we'll cope with them. I am very frequently asked, how can we succeed in the digital transformation? Well, it's important that top people are involved. For example, Rais of the Republic, without him, without top person, decision maker, nothing would have happened. And Rustam, thank you very much. And just your own personal involvement defines the success in the Republic. Yes, without Rustam, these events and this particular event, digital events, would be impossible because nobody would care to organize them. So thank you very much thank you very much, all of you here. And we will implement these all ideas from plenary meeting to reality. And those of you who stayed with us online, again, thank you very much. And we continue this broadcasting on Kazan Digital with .ru site, and stay well in Kazan.